is they're not selling well. We're going to run out and really work on training them to sell better, right? It seems like the natural thing to do.
Yeah, and I remember during that time, I bought a bunch of sales stuff, but I bought every course, every book, and everything. This is an insurance playbook, and we're going to talk about why your insurance sales problem is not a sales problem. What up, Mr. Craig?
What up, Mr. Jason? That is crazy. How is it even possible that your sales problem can't be a sales problem?
That's what we always think, right? Is that anytime we're struggling with sales, we think, oh man, it's a sales problem.
It's a sales problem. And then, so what do? So I think the first thing that I've done over the course of my career is they're not selling well. We're going to run out and really work on training them to sell better, right? It seems like the natural thing to do.
Right. Seems like the right thing.
So we get them in, we buy some kind of coaching platform, get them in there and train and make them these incredible salespeople. And then what happens?
We're still getting the same results.
Same results. How's that possible?
Maybe a little bit better.
Maybe a little bit, right?
Slightly, yeah.
Slightly. So we were experiencing this, right? We were sitting here trying to do this. In fact, Mr. Jason and I, to give you a little backstory, the way that we met was I was selling him a coaching program to do sales, right? And as we started building out the marketing component and really figuring out what would drive the most quotes in our agency, we were at the same time trying to get really good at selling. And what we noticed was the very thing we've been talking about.
Yeah, and I remember during that time, I bought a bunch of sales stuff, but I bought every course, every book, and everything, because I knew that was the thing for me in my agency. It was like, dude, I was making nothing. I think I made 60 grand the first year, like netted around 60 grand. And I was like locked into a $750,000 loan payment for 10 years. And I was like, this sucks. Like this can't just keep going. Cause I mean, not that that's bad, but like, I did not want that.
So when we started putting pen to paper and we're watching these results, we noticed that when our people were doing more quotes, they wrote more business. Go figure, right? And we're thinking, oh, wait a minute. So we have different variables that we're inputting into this thing. One that's further towards the front, right? One that can make a bigger impact sooner, and that's more quotes. It's interesting trying to solve I need to make more sales, so I'm going to train them to get better at selling, but not look at the thing over here that actually is really going to move the needle the most, which is more quotes.
And there always has to be a through line from the beginning, making sure that there's enough people for them to talk to up until the end where you convert them to a client, right? Every single touch point in between needs to be looked at. I didn't even realize this until we opened that second agency and we started selling a lot, and we started a big team of around 15 people at that time. You would say, I used to always look for people that were the best salespeople. And you could say, oh, this person's the best salesperson. But when you look at the numbers, all the touch points and everything else, if whoever followed the process, even the worst salesperson would get a very similar number. The swing point between a great salesperson and the worst salesperson, all things being equal, all the touch points being equal, was a very slight difference of result. So it's the process rather than the person. And that's where you were saying at the beginning of this, the sales skills, important, but all you need is a few of these like theories, a few of these principles instilled in your team. And then you need less tactics. If you can get them to perform consistently, and that's the hardest thing.
And in the beginning, I think it can help if you have one really good salesperson just to prove that it's doable, right? Because forever, my salespeople were stuck. And I mean, this is before we opened the third and all that stuff, but they were stuck at that 20-25, like above 25, almost impossible, right?
Right. And if you can even take that to the agent. We work with so many agencies, and a lot of them come in and don't believe as well. They're like, all right, well, let's see if this works. Anything works if you work it. Anything. Even mailers, I think mailers are garbage. They do work. They
work. You're just gonna have a higher CPS. That's fine. If you want to pay more. But if you do it and you follow the process and you do it for long enough and you track and measure, that'll work.
Right.
It won't work as well. I mean, you could get the same output, but maybe it's going to cost more. That's the problem, right? Like, I mean, after tests, and that's where you get, right? If you could load them up with enough quotes, then now you have data. You can look at which thing that I'm loading them up with the most quotes actually gets the best results.
And I would say, I think you can get the same CPS. with mailers.
Maybe, yeah.
So I would say that the reason why you probably won't is because going back to everything that we're talking about now, consistency and having the process, it's impossible to track a lot of that and measure and be able to follow the KPIs. So although that you could get the same numbers, and I'm sure some people do, but there's no way to monitor that so that it can be done consistently like you can do if following a process of leads coming in, like definitive leads, like
Right.
exactly this 10 people, their names and everything, and then tracking it all along your CRM and then following that. And like, there's no way that you can't have that level of accuracy with mailers unless you're tracking every single incoming call and tagging them as a lead and then tracking it back to the marketing material.
And there's also no way to know how many people opened it, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, and that's an important detail when you're spending tens of thousands of dollars because you need to get the volume from the mailer and you don't even know how many people opened it. It's problematic, right? And the second piece is the next most important piece, right? Because if we don't know our contact rate, we don't know what they opened, then it's hard to make the next decision.
And I would argue that it's what if it's a branding play? If you have a independent agency, sure, it could be a little bit of a branding play as well. But if you are a captive, you are promoting the captive agency. And what's crazy is they could take that material and then call in, and then the call gets diverted to the local agent and you did the marketing for it. That's bananas.
It's bananas.
I don't want to spend money for Sam's agency down the street, right?
Right.
Do us a favor, subscribe. Whatever you're listening to right now, subscribe to this. And we have a few other subjects that I know you will be dying to hear because we have uncovered some secrets that we're excited to share with you.
Yeah, if you want to hear a little bit about how one of my folks is on pace for 53K this month, maybe you want to listen to the next one.
Or click below for Internet Leads Secrets, and we have a $7. You get a book on everything internet leads and how to close them.
It's the best $7 you could ever spend.
That's it.
And that was a cool video.